Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of Our Stars and Stripes and Maple Syrup. We have Anth Stephenson from Wyoming with us again this week. Anth, thanks for coming on.
Welcome, mate. Always a pleasure.
Guys, as you'll see, we have a whole new surround today. I got kicked out of the house office and I'm in my man cave. So a little bit better, a little bit brighter. Let's see how it goes. Remember to like and subscribe, whichever way it is. I never know. But let's kick on with what was an absolutely shite performance against the Smoggies.
Yep. Didn't get started. Didn't look like they were going to get started. Obviously, losing Ross Stewart 20 minutes before the start of the match is not ideal, but you got to send the 11 out there to perform, and they didn't.
No, they didn't even look like performing either. The press wasn't there. The snap and the passing wasn't there. Evans was back to being his Evans best. It was unacceptable on all levels. And look, I know I jokingly said it in the chat, but it took 1 week for Tony Mowbray to undo all of the good that Judas did before going to Stoke.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's one match. You know, we've got Millwall this weekend, so hopefully it's just one of those where they just would not add it today. You know, we've been pretty consistent through the entire season so far. I think there's only the Chef Wed game in the Carabao Cup
that which nobody cared about. I don't think even the players on the field cared about that one.
And you know, even when we've lost other games, we've always been in it. And this is probably the first time, even though it was a 1-0 win, we just didn't look like getting anything back from Borough tonight. It was just, you know, just wasteful in possession, just lack of effort. It was just a disappointing effort all around tonight.
Agreed. And I think it started from the front. I mean, I know I mentioned this in the chat. I'm just trying to pull stats up so I've got them available for me. I think one of the things that we've done really well, one of the things that Stewart does really well, is he harries the defenders.
Yep.
Which means you've got that forward press. So it then you then have Sims and Pritchard for harrying defenders as well. And you didn't see that at all today.
No.
And because they were backing off so much, it meant that Gooch and Clark weren't able to get up and support that high press. So they were defending a lot deeper.
It's like if one person went to try and press, that would be it. And it's not going to work with just one person. And as you said...
I tell you who it was never going to be today? It was never going to be Patrick Roberts.
No, he's not. He's not going to do that.
Abjectly woeful today. I mean, he didn't press. He didn't... Like, running off the ball and the whole team was non-existent.
Just the entire effort tonight, you know, it's so disappointing. You think, you know, it's a local team. It's not a derby. It's just, but let's get into them tonight. You know, we had a big backing down there. It was a big crowd. The players have got no excuse for not playing in a decent-sized crowd. But, you know, we had that one chance with Pritch in the first 10, 15 minutes. And then that was pretty much it. You know,
at halftime, I was watching the Sky football breakdown of the game in the first half. And I think it was Downing who said it. He said, if you look when Pritchard is put through, nobody shouts to tell him he's got time. And that's when you see him take it first time. He said, if that had been me, I'd have expected a shout. I would have wanted to have taken that first touch and then just slip it past the keeper.
He had plenty of time, and that was the thing. Which just, you know, he has to have a shout. And, you know, it could have been a different game. If we bagged from that, things could have been different, but it's all hindsight. So it's just one of those...
I've got to be honest. I mean, look, Middlesbrough too threatening throughout. I mean, but Patterson definitely kept us in the game in the second half with some decent saves.
Right.
But for me, the snap and the passing, the harrying defenders, the things we were being good at for the last 6 months,
right,
just were non-existent today. And as a result, we never looked like getting anything.
No, it was very, very flat.
I think something that the commentator said today was that, I think at 75 minutes in, we'd only had one shot on target.
Yeah.
And you can't at any level, you can't expect to win games with one shot on target, unless Jose Mourinho is your manager.
Absolutely.
But look, I did think Sims was quite lively still. He was a minor bright spot in a otherwise turgid display.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. He still run, the thing about him and Stewart together, they both run the channels well, the little through balls, little ball over the top. But the problem is he had no one to follow him up, where those two have been working off each other well since the start of the season. They had nobody to play off each other at night. And he ran the channels well, held the ball up, had a couple of snapshots, but he didn't have that backup within 10, 15 yards of him to look for that lay off so he could go again. And it was as you said, he played well, but he didn't have anybody to play with.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I know that I get on Evans's back, but he has had a couple of good performances. But today it looked as though he dialed it in.
No, it was he single out Evans, but I just think across the entire.
There's more coming. More players are going to get it. But
yeah,
just because I do pick on Evans probably more than any other player. When I'm watching him, I'm watching for the good stuff, hoping it comes out more than I'm hoping for him to mess up. But as I was writing my stupid notes before the game, it was if you had to write Evans's autobiography, I can't fucking find it now. That was it. Bottle tackles and missed passes. That would be the title of his autobiography. Because the lad doesn't like to get stuck in. He doesn't. I mean, he's made of glass, so I can understand. It's an Evans family trait. But you think if you can't tackle, your timing will be better. You'd read the game a lot better, and he just doesn't. And I can't understand, given all the time we had in the summer up to the end of the transfer window on Thursday, why we didn't bring in a central midfield player capable of taking on that role.
Right. I'm happy with, for the most part, bringing in the young lads. Hopefully they develop and we get something down the road in the next year or so. But we need something right now. We need stability. We need to stay in this division for definite. Are we exceeding expectations? Probably a little bit right now. Yeah. But that showed you with Stewart going out as well tonight. We didn't have anybody that was ideal backup for losing Ross Stewart.
But we didn't seem to have a plan B tactically either.
No.
It just seemed to be, okay, look, we're going to drop Roberts in the hole with Pritch, play Sims up front, but we'll just keep everything else the same. And that's fine and dandy if Sims had more game craft about him.
Right.
But I don't think, or he was more used to dropping deep and having those runs coming from Pritchard or coming from Roberts. But he looked completely at sea with the way the ball was played to him, despite being lively and making the runs in the channels and in the spaces for everybody not to find him. And that was the biggest disappointment today, was the fact that I don't think Gooch put a decent cross in all night. I don't think Clark put a decent cross in all night.
Clark was woeful tonight.
Clark was unwilling to run at the Borough fullback. Now, whether that was because the Borough fullback was too fast for him, but his crossing was woeful. I mean, I think the back end of the second half, where it went out for throw in on the other side of the field, showed just how bad his crossing had been tonight.
No, I think Clark tried at a go. Is it Jones, the right back?
Yeah.
That lad's rapid. He's absolutely rapid. And Clark had so much success the other night with going past the fullback, where he didn't get that tonight, and he had no plan B. Yeah, as you said, his crossing was absolutely woeful. How many times he overhit it, like just avoided everybody in the middle of the box. But he didn't have, because he couldn't get past the fullback, he just didn't know what to do, and his final delivery was just absolutely.
But is that not where the manager should step up and go, okay, look, this isn't working, trying to get around him, so maybe bring Pritch out wide to kind of play that 1-2, and they just again, like I'm not at the match. You can't see, you can't hear what instructions are being yelled from the sideline. But I didn't see any attempt from the team to change what we were doing.
Yeah, there was no plan B tonight. It was just, this is what we've been doing. This is what's worked. We've lost our main focal point, but now it's like, well, what do we do now? This is the only way we know. And, as I said, the gaps between the front, I guess, one with Sims, with the people behind him, especially in the second half, was massive. Like Sims was like, he was at sea. He was by himself with no backup tonight, and you could absolutely see like we weren't getting forward like we have been. It was like just like we win the ball back, we push, and then we're on the attack, and we didn't have that today.
So no, we didn't. A question for you. So at the death of the first half, Roberts went through in the box and threw himself down shamefully. Was he lucky not to get booked?
Well, if it's simulation, he's supposed to get booked.
Look, when you look at the replay, there was no contact.
It's just these days, though. It's just that he's looking to win something that wasn't there, and
surely the referee at that point has either got to award a penalty or book him for simulation if there's no foul.
Right, that's the rules. But the referee took him a while to get his book out tonight anyway.
This referee was gash anyway. We had him, and I think was it the Coventry game we had him with this fucking Alice band.
Yep. So no, he could have, if he's not going to give the free kick, if there's no contact, he should have been given a yellow card. But as I said, we move on. We do,
and in the second half, again, we were without any real ideas. I was surprised to see Pritchard come off on just after the hour mark. And I thought it was a step backwards, bringing Pritchard off and bringing Embleton on.
Yep.
I thought the game had passed Dan Neil all night, and I think it would have been a better option to bring Dan Neil off and bring Embleton on. But the highlight of my night for substitutions was seeing Duncan Watmore come on.
Yeah, he's a good lad, Duncan. He had that massive string of injury problems towards the back end of his career with us, and obviously the relegations and stuff didn't help. But he's a really nice lad. I think he really did a lot of work in the community with the foundation and stuff as well. And he's a good kid. And I
was glad he didn't score because it would have flattered Middlesbrough, but he had two chances where he could have scored.
Yeah, and it would have been typical us.
Yeah. It wouldn't have surprised me if McNair and Watmore were the only scorers tonight.
It happens. We're used to it.
So going back to because I'm just looking at my board, the comments made about crossing tonight. I think JW Justin made a really good comment on the NASA chat, and to quote him, he said, "Our crossing has been wank."
I concur with that.
I don't, because at least a wank has an end result.
No, it was awful though. It was really bad.
And Barrow didn't make it easy for us. They never were going to, because for them, this is their big game this season. Absolutely. It's either us or Hull or their local derby.
Yeah, and the way they treat this game to what we treat the game is probably like night and day. And I know there's Sunderland fans that still think it is a derby, but I'm one of those that don't. But at least we should be up for it. It's a big match anyway, no matter what. I
think Sky have got a lot to answer for in this. Is it a derby? Isn't it a derby thing? For me, growing up, I remember you have one derby team. It's your closest rival. For us, it's Newcastle.
No doubt.
And then Sky come along and they talk about the Chelsea, West Ham, London derby. It's not a fucking derby. You've got like 4 football teams in between those two clubs.
Well, I still think Manchester United Liverpool's not a derby either.
It's not. It's a hell of a game. But
right.
It's not a derby.
No.
Liverpool and Everton, Manchester United, Manchester City. They're derby games.
Yeah, absolutely.
but Sky wanted to sell everything as a derby game. North of England derby, Newcastle United versus Leeds. Like, fuck them. We have one derby team. It's the Scum. That's who we are.
That's it.
All right. So, was there any positives really to pick up? I mean, Diallo didn't look bad when he came on, full of running. That back heel for Sims was unlucky.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a good touch on him.
Should have for 40 million.
That's it. And then you get him on loan. You know, it's typical Man United though. But you know, we'll see how he goes. He got a great reputation. I heard he did well for Rangers last year. With obviously Rangers had a great season, getting through in Europe and stuff. And he's held in high regard. You know, if you're that young and you're playing a Champions League game against Milan and you score, you've got something about you. And I think it's a decent little coup for us to actually get him. With the clubs, you know, what we want to do with young players now, he probably saw it as an opportunity to get in and get actual like game time in the Championship. So there's a lot of big games, and I think he'll do well. Who will he displace? You know, where's he going to play? Who's he going to take over from? How's he going to fit into our system?
So he's right-sided, yeah?
Yeah, and he looked like he played more central tonight, though. That's the thing. He looked like once Roberts went off, he looked like he played in right where Roberts had been playing. So we'll see how he fits into Mowbray's plans, I guess.
Yeah, so if you've got Jack Clark out wide on the left, and you've got Pritchard in the middle, and Diallo would be your out wide right, as long as he goes around the back of the defenders and doesn't cut in on them like Roberts does.
Well, and that's the thing with Jack Clark, though. It's like, yeah, it wasn't working tonight, but why didn't we get him to switch flanks? You know, have a go from the other side, because he is naturally right-footed.
Mm-hmm.
And why wasn't that actually used as a tactic now? All right, this is not working. Let's switch him over. Let's go down the right-hand side, and let's go from there. And
well, no, I agree with you. Look, I mean, look, it wasn't a terrible, from a statistic point of view, it wasn't terrible. We bossed possession, even if our possession was somewhat aimless at times. We're still 8th in the league. We're still not that far off competing at the top end of the league. I think Sheffield United went top the other night. There's 17 points, so 6 points difference. And we could be level on points with Sheffield if we'd kept 11 men on the pitch against them the other week.
Yeah, and that's what I said. This is probably the first game this season in the league where we haven't competed. We really haven't been up for it. Even against Sheffield United, when Dan Neil got sent off, we were actually still in it for periods during the second half, and we still looked like we could get something out of it.
I think we were pretty poor against Stoke, but we managed to get a win out of that one, which made us look a little bit better than we were. But look, it's all about looking forward at this point in time. If you'd offered me 11 points after 8 games of the season in July, would I have taken it? Probably, yeah. I mean, there's 46 games in the season, so we're 6 8 of 48. So we're nearly 20% through the season.
Yeah.
And to be a point or 2 points off the playoffs at this point of the season, yeah, I don't think there's a Sunderland fan who would have said, no, I don't want that. And look, they're going to be harder games. I mean, Millwall are no mugs. They haven't started as quickly as they would have liked, but they've got what's his name from who went to Hull after he left us.
Honeyman.
Yes, Honeyman signed for them this summer, so he'll be coming home with a point to prove. JW's just posted in the chat that someone said that Evans was man of the match.
No. Yeah.
I can't get behind that.
Probably for me, I'd put Pato for man of the match tonight for us.
Patterson? Yeah, I'd probably agree with you that.
Other than these
the only person that would have Evans as the man of the match is his mum.
Or his brother.
No, even Johnny says he's a twat. All right, so let's look at the Millwall game on Saturday. We're back at home, where we've been. It was the Roker report that said Evans was man of the match. Oh, off the fucking nut. So Millwall on Saturday.
Yep.
They're always a nasty team to play, and their fans are absolute filth.
Yep. Extra security in the upper north stand this weekend.
Yeah, but I fancy us for a win still.
I do. I just
let me repackage that. If the Stewart injury means he doesn't miss more than today, and I'm hoping he just came off as a precaution because it was feeling tight, not because it went. Hopefully some treatment between now and Friday means he's good for Saturday.
I'm hoping so, and if he's fit, yeah, I'm thinking we should win at home. We got our first win last week, but we should have probably had more. We should have beat QPR at home.
Yeah, it was. I don't know whether I'm disappointed by the. I mean, yeah, I'm always disappointed when we drop points. But I said I don't remember who I had out that week. Was that Sean, or was that one of the weeks I was sick? But the first goal scorer for QPR should never have been on the pitch to score that free kick.
Right.
Because he grabbed Gooch by the throat, literally 6 feet in front of the referee. And then the keeper comes up and it's almost like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if it was passing going up, it wouldn't have happened. But there's all hell breaks loose and people lose their mind when the keeper goes up for a corner. So no, I'm not devastated by that. I think that point might come in useful. Hopefully we won't be ruining the loss of those 2 points by the end of the season.
Yeah, but I think this weekend coming up, I think we've got a good chance to bounce back on our own pitch, fans back behind us. We're getting high 30-odd thousands, close to 40s, and I think we've got a chance. If Stewart's fit, I think we'll win it 2-0.
2-0.
I'll go with 2-0.
2-0 is a 9-1 up bet, which we'll get on with. Carl, I'm not doing very well in the betting this year. With $0.
Oh no.
Which effectively means that I'm out of pocket about $50, but I can live with that. Yeah, I can live with that. I'm gonna go 2-1. Still not 100% certain with O'Neill behind in central defense. I'd much rather just see Bath and Wright playing there. I'd like to see the young lad from Arsenal back. Yeah,
he started off well. The injuries, unfortunate, but just shows you if the lack of the strength in the squad. As he said, I think core positions for backup down the middle were lacking. Extra centre half, centre mid, and a forward. I think we needed all three of those to be able to cover injuries. The thing with O'Neill, he gives everything, but he's not great of a player.
But I would rather have O'Neill in my team every day of the week over Corry Evans.
Right, that's a given.
And the same with Lyndon Gooch. Gooch may not have had a good game today, but you never come off there go saying, well, Gooch was shit and didn't give a damn all game.
Right.
Because even when Gooch is crap, he still puts a shift in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas with Evans, you can't tell looking at him whether he's had a good game, bad game, busy game, quiet game. And I don't know whether that just shows his quality as a world-class international, because he's doing all the dirty work you don't really see. Right. Or it's just because he's overrated and a bit shit. I'm likely to go with the overrated and a bit shit.
Sounds like you.
Yeah. All right. So with Millwall coming up, let me ask you one more question before we let you go. We brought in 4 players at the end of the transfer window. What were your thoughts?
Diallo was a great signing, as I said earlier. I think he's somebody that we can use now. Michu, the kid from Paris Saint-Germain, got a massive reputation of a possible future massive player. Seen a few videos of him, looks decent on the ball, can glide through players. I think he's definitely one that will probably look to help in with Pritchard down the road. The other lads, completely from left field, I guess. Just not really sure anything about him. But it's just one of those, well, it's another bar that we've had from Le Havre, and the last one didn't work out too well either. So let's just hope this one's got,
and
then a bit more about
was it Jewison Bennett from Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Who looks good on YouTube. He does, and the appearances he made for Costa Rica national team looked as though he could do a job, but I just don't see those last two doing a job this season.
No. I think we'll see the lad mature for a little bit earlier. Once we get him, the problem with Bennett is he doesn't even speak the language as well. So that's going to be a massive, learning curve for him.
That's not going to be too difficult because Sunderland's well renowned for its Spanish contingent.
Oh, it's fast. I live in Witherwack, I heard.
No, my mum's in Witherwack. She said it's not around. Well, technically, mum's in Southwick, but she keeps saying Witherwack.
Tell you what, she's in Suddock. She's in Suddock.
Yeah, she's in those was it Gen 2 houses?
Yeah.
So she's right on the border. But
depends if she goes at the front.
I think I like the club's ambition. Look, buy these young, promising players. If they don't work out, it's pennies and salary. If they do work out, then we'll be able to do what teams like Brentford have done, where you bring in Ivan Toney for $200,000 and you sell him for $30 million.
Yep, I was just going to say the same. Them and whoever would have thought that Brentford and Brighton would be established Premier League teams, but their model.
It's a bit early to class Brentford as established. They had a good first season. They stayed up. They've looked good this season. I mean, they destroyed Man United at Old Trafford.
And they destroyed Leeds this weekend as well, which we all happy with.
Especially given that Ivan Toney's in my NASA fantasy team.
I saw you right up there. I'm not. I'm right down the other end.
Are you really? How bad is your team this year?
Shite.
Let's take a look. Pick a team, transfer, leagues and cups. There we go. I'm third at the moment. Andrew Moore, whoever that is 30. Well, he's 12 points ahead of Phil Mason. And then where's that? Where's Stephenson? Justin's bottom. JW's bottom.
There's no shock with that, though.
To be below Ellington is pretty bad. You're 27, back at 31, though. Who is in the Wyoming Black Cats? Jesus and Kane as your strike. You signed Fred. You had money available and you picked Fred.
Lack of money when I wanted Kane and Salah, and it's disappointing that Salah's not even scoring right now.
Yeah, no, I've got Salah, Jesus, and Haaland.
Well, there you go. There's where your points are. Haaland's probably your captain as well, is he?
Yeah, he is.
There you go.
I was almost tempted to play my triple points captain this week, but decided against it right at the last minute.
When your captain scores 2 hat-tricks in 2 matches, yeah, you'll be doing all right.
I had my captain score 2 hat-tricks in 2 matches. Then I had Tony score a hat-trick this week. That's Jesus' turn next week. I think my only weak link in my team right now is the fact that I went with the midfielder at Chelsea, the English lad. What's his name? Dude is completely gone. Oh no, I swapped him out. I got rid of him. I picked up Phil Foden instead.
Oh, Foden will be fine, man.
I think I might get rid of Smith Rowe and bring in Odegaard as well.
Yeah, Odegaard's been looking good.
Yeah. Did you see any of that Arsenal documentary before the start of the season?
I haven't had a chance to, mate. Just work's taken over my life. I'm just glad I've got
you just get to sit in your manager's office and tell people what to do and put it on.
Not when you live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and your budget's is smaller than everybody else's. So, nope, I'm out in the front of everything, doing everything. So I'm off today, and then I'm off on Saturday, so I can watch the match.
Anth Stephenson is the Joanne Fabrics version of a Sunderland manager.
With a bit more nous.
With a bit more nous. So do you put Betty on till, or do you have her stocking shelves?
But everybody does everything, mate. Everybody does everything.
All right, man. Well, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. As always, we'll have you back towards the probably after the World Cup break. And we talk about how amazing England's World Cup win was. Beating Brazil 4-0 in the final was epic.
Can't wait for it.
I'm not looking forward to it this year. Like World Cup in November just doesn't sit right with me. But
no, and I'm
beating the Yanks on Black Friday will be good.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see how I can come up with another positive COVID test so I can.
Do you want me to call a bomb threat in?
Not quite that, but I'm trying to come up with something or find another job by then.
I mean, just color your COVID stick in red.
I've still got my one off when I had COVID a few weeks ago.
There you go. Well, for anybody watching from Joanne Fabrics, this is not Anthony Stephenson, and he's not holding on to a COVID test strip. For anyone who's not, and there's the plan, mate.
Cheers, lad.
All right, guys, we will be back after the Millwall game on Saturday. Should be able to get the post up on Sunday. No idea who it's going to be yet. I've been really bad at focusing these. Remember, give us a like, give us a follow. If you're listening on Spotify, don't crash the car. And Justin, keep running. Justin tends to listen to this on the treadmill. So maybe we should try to be funnier to trip him up and see how many weeks into the season he stops running.
It's like your podcast with like theme tunes with the Rocky music to get them going through on the gym. Sounds inspirational.
There you go. Justin, we'll have the Rocky theme tune on for you next week towards the end, just to give you that last push. But guys, for me and from Anthony, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.